On Thursday, May 21st, 2026, I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. This is a hybrid meeting and it is being recorded. I have with me in the room from the Finance Committee, Andy Olderman, Dean Nahadas, John Croft, Don Moore, Peter Twining, and myself, Sarah Melish. We're missing. Also in the room is Town Administrator Tony Barletta, Finance Director in Remainville. From the Select Board, Ann Harrison and Kathy Bellata, and the Director of Public Works, Chuck Dan. Hopefully we're not minuscule for anybody who's on Zoom. The first item on the agenda was just kind of to discuss the town meeting and ballot results.
Great job at telling me, by the way, so
Oh, thank you.
got a lot of airtime.
Steps. A lot of repetition.
MVP, I'd say.
In case people weren't listening. Is there anything we should have done differently at town meeting? We were pretty well
That's
satisfied.
pretty good, yeah. I mean, do a new moderator or a new.
Do like they last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we do well?
We talked at the select board meeting about essentially, you know how we kind of did that italicized description, more sentence description on the water capital debt. Or maybe doing some of that for more articles in the future to kind of give people a little bit more of a summary explanation of what the article's about. And then we also talked about having some of those more complicated motions, printed as a handout or something, that way Eli can just move the article, be passed as been printed, instead of him having to read.
Yeah, in the past, I don't think Alan's read the motions.
Like that, the PFAS one was so large that it couldn't even fit on the screen itself.
Yeah.
So we had to read that one, but,
Yeah.
a couple things like that, a couple tweaks like that, that might
Sounds good.
make it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah. No, I thought it went well. And I thought that having all of the extra information we had in this Finance Committee report was really good because it gave people the opportunity to, if they so chose, to look at things in advance. The table of contents so they can find stuff.
I actually think that's a pretty good suggestion, is buff up
Yeah,
because there's a lot in them.
right. There's Lori. Lori's great instructor us.
Sorry, let me down. Yeah.
To the merits.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Sorry.
The ballot results, we passed. The thing I thought was kind of interesting, which leads to the opportunity to change the bylaw, was the discrepancy in the vote for each item between approving the debt and approving the override. That was, to me, a significant swing in the vote. So it's my understanding we can make a change. Is that correct, Tony?
Yeah, we're looking at it for potentially November.
Okay,
Actually, the financial management analysis that was done by the Department of Revenue 10+ years ago suggested that we get rid of that special act altogether.
okay,
And we're gonna be redoing, updating that management review starting in June. I don't know if, how the town would receive, eliminating that bylaw altogether. Or we could see if there's a way to amend it that if you have to go to the ballot anyways, that you don't have to have both questions on it.
Yeah. And what would happen if you eliminated it entirely? Just the override would be on
Correct.
it? Yeah.
Right now, if you were borrowing or spending more than $1 million on anything,
Yeah,
regardless of whether you need debt exclusion, it triggers a ballot question.
It's just confusing.
yeah. That makes an awful long ballot.
It's awesome.
The only good thing is I had walked there, so at least when I was in there was air conditioning.
It's hot.
Not a very good turnout though.
Actually, it ended up turning out,
450.
yeah, which Christine had said ahead of time that, usually it's somewhere between 10-15% of voting. And there really wasn't any contested races.
Right.
So when we were there around 2-3
Like
o'clock,
200 odd people have been there.
yeah, and then I think we kind of pushed the word out that only 200 people had voted so far, and then there was a big kind of rush, and I think that thunderstorm helped a little bit too, because it got people up the beach.
So it's not like we could save money by eliminating this, by not having the ballot, because we still would have to have the polls for elections, right?
Yeah, it's not really a money thing, it's more of it just created some confusion, I think, to voters at the ballot, as why is there 2 questions for each of the 5 projects?
It's not that we won't have the ballot,
Right.
we'll still have the question, we just won't have the article and the stick to it, Prop 2.5 copy.
We always have to have the Prop 2.5 override on the ballot, but we don't need approval for the bond itself, for issuing the bond. It's my understanding. Okay.
I ran into quite a few people, during the day in town, and I had my little sticker that said I voted. And they said, "You vote? Where did you vote? What vote?" So there were a lot of residents or folks that I ran into that had no idea there was an election going on.
Yeah,
And maybe we need a, sandwich board in front of town hall that says, "Don't forget, today is voting."
we had
Like there were 2 VML signs, but
Yeah.
Apparently they didn't work.
They only face one way. If you came into town, there was no. I actually, my mistake, went to the high school to vote. I saw a note, I was coming into town and there was no sign. I thought, oh, maybe we're supposed to do it at the high school. It would be useful to have it both directions.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I was gonna say around 8:30 or so, 8:15, there's only 41 people that voted.
yeah.
And the poll's been open for an hour and a half. And Allison, when she checked me in, said, "Oh, there's no sign around town." And yet coming home in the evening off Pine Street, I noticed the sign was there, which is a great place for it, because people coming home from work, are like, "Oh, I should go vote."
Yeah.
But I don't think there was as much press about this. Probably Board of Selectmen or others, or in the cricket, it would have been good to have a little more like,
It was,
get out, vote.
it was in the cricket, but it was kind of blended in with a story about the Essex town meeting.
Right.
We did, text message and had it in the Tide and
Mhm.
some social media stuff, but
And because there were no contested races, we didn't have those
Right.
forums in advance.
I'm just thinking
Yeah.
about muscle memory for our voters, that we want them to be used to voting and be sensitive to that. And I'm a big promoter guy, and one of the things that we could do, I think this is illegal, is that when we vote, get a coupon that's good for a 10% discount for hamburger at any restaurant in, or I don't know what.
Yeah.
But I'll bet there would be restaurants who would say, "Sure, I'll let you 10% for capital funds. I'll hand them out, but I'll get 90%. You know, so, now maybe that's not legal if you vote to
I don't know.
have a promoter.
But speaking of legality, we were limited as to how much we could use town funds to distribute information promoting the ballot questions. So we couldn't really like.
Just to encourage voting itself, without any.
Right, so we could kind of get out there and say, the election is this day, it's this location, this time. But we couldn't do like a mailer. We thought about like a postcard, with some info and stuff like that, but legal kind of cautioned us on the distribution part of it is where you can start to get into some of the legal limitation issues.
But maybe we could have mentioned the date of town meeting too. I don't know if it was mentioned. I don't recall it.
We also have the reader board, those electronic things that say, slow down, smile, that kind of stuff. Maybe we could fold in today, vote today.
Yeah, we had two of those but they were both at the off ramps, right?
Okay.
So they were.
Yeah.
We probably could have had maybe another one downtown or
Yeah.
something like that.
I'm pleased you get to see me smile.
I do.
Most of the way.
I wonder if it would be helpful to have a method that takes the vote as a percentage above quorum, like if you have 100% of the vote and a quorum, where do you fall on each vote?
I don't think there's any quorum at the ballot box. No. It could be one person.
Big dollar bet if you offer them 10% discount on the property taxes.
Each stick or something.
Voters on the street gets plowed first.
We'll give you a meter account.
Okay, anything else on that? No. Okay, next item on the agenda is the fiscal year 26 update on potential year-end transfers and use of the FinCom reserve fund. You have something for us, Andrea? I'm sure there won't be any. It's filled.
Yeah.
It is.
The paper. As well.
Big notes.
You can see for selectmen salaries, we had additional hours for communication coordinator and a rate increase and the rest of Greg's payout. I think we spoke about during the budget season. The selectmen salaries was increased for FY 27 because of the communication coordinator's increased hours and rate. But this had been done after the FY 26 budget had already been done.
Okay, so we increased the hours outside of the budget.
Right.
You speak a little louder.
Sure, I'll try.
One thing, how can we be allowed to increase the hours outside of the budget? Without a vote?
When the town votes on a budget, they're only voting on dollar amounts. They're not voting on how those dollars are spent. It's the town administrator who can determine how many hours a person works as long as the total budget comes in. All right, and what these transfers are doing is spending more in some budgets and less in others.
It's just,
Which is
we're
a-
often told we can't change things without a town vote, but yet there are changes done without a town vote. Just wondering what difference is.
That, you know, different towns do things differently.
Mhm.
And certainly Essex, I believe Essex actually approves a salary schedule each year, which I think is crazy. I mean, you know, it
Yeah. And the other thing that we do is, as part of our Article 4 at town meeting, as part of the motion, it says that it gives the powers to the select board and the finance committee to transfer funds between functions of the operating budget.
Well, I assume you're trying to manage to the budget that you set, but that there was some additional, like more PR needed for certain things. Was it approved by the select board to do that or anything? Is this just a decision that was made internal?
Not aware
Yeah, I
of
wasn't
that. I
there either.
wasn't involved in that.
But the communications coordinator, I think originally when that position was created, it was originally funded with ARPA money, I think. I think it had first come on
no,
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 because of,
no, the only position.
it was a
funded the
part-time
health-
position originally. And we gradually increased it. We had a budget where we increased the hours, so it is surprising that now we have a budget that didn't include those hours, but those hours were worked. I think that's the question, because doesn't usually happen. When we discuss the budgets, we talk about moving people up
yeah.
in the number of hours, so I don't quite understand why this happened.
After the budget cycle.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Why it was spent this year when it wasn't in the budget we discussed.
I guess, but my understanding is that that position was full-time for longer than when the budget was approved. It may have just not been included last year, because we corrected it this year.
What's the next question?
Yeah, remember when we corrected it this year, we showed.
Correction, it was saying, yes, we're increasing those hours.
I think it
Isn't
was,
that right, or?
I feel like there was multiple layers. There was,
Okay.
she was part-time, but she ended up working more hours than was budgeted because of the need. You know, like emergency services came up or, you know, snow plowing or whatever. And so she's kind of on call 24/7. And so then we're like, well, you know, we should, you know, be paying you for these extra hours. So we increased it. But then we were like, well, we actually need more services for communications to do X, Y, and Z. So let's increase that further. But then there's also a rate increase on top of that as well for the added responsibilities. So that was like, it was multiple time frame and layers to that.
So now it's a full-time position,
Mhm.
so there's no additional hours involved,
No,
right?
I got like just, I mean, maintaining the website is probably a full-time position. Never was there 5 years ago.
right.
So I see that as just a matter of waiting until you have permission before you go.
Right. I understand that.
Right, and I think that with all of the zoning changes too.
We also have like ADA requirements from the state that came along that we have to make sure that our website is ADA compliant and our documents are. A lot. The next one is the collection expenses. I was trying to look back at my notes because we went in our professional services for HR, we were at 45,000 for FY 25, but then we went down to 34,000 for FY 26. I feel like we were gonna reduce the hours for the HR services from 10 to 8, but we didn't end up doing that for 26.
But
Still like to
that
see what the
was
reason
on the
is.
study though, didn't we do some big HR study
Yeah,
last year?
Well, we did the operational business plan.
Is that what,
No, this is for our shared HR director with the town of Hamilton.
oh,
So they have 30 hours and we have 10 hours. That's,
I know when I came on in July, we got updated contracts for both the shared Concom agent and the shared HR.
yes.
one of them. Hamilton picks up the full cost and we reimburse them a portion, and then it's the opposite for the other position. Yeah, but we had to kind of. We had to correct that or get that updated or something. Is that part of it?
I don't believe that was part of it. I think part of it was that we originally thought that Hamilton was gonna take 100% of the conservation agent. Then we ended up taking 100% of the conservation agent and then billing Hamilton. But we were like, oh, well, the amounts might be the same, so we might just be able to like a little wash. But that didn't happen. The amounts didn't work out. So then we ended up taking the conservation agent for 100%, and then we billed Hamilton. So that's why we need the updated agreements.
Okay.
The next one is IT expenses. We needed additional Adobe licenses and not just like a, Adobe Reader. We actually needed Adobe. So that was added cost about like $8,000 that was not budgeted.
So they were just increase in the number of users, not changing, not updating the software.
It was both. Both.
So it was increased use of Adobe, so you needed the full Adobe services rather than the reader. Which is what I discovered, that I had to upgrade my personal Adobe because I couldn't access the stuff from the town.
Yes. I know.
It was strange.
Yeah, and now we're all subscription based. Kind of drives me crazy because before we would just buy licenses
Yeah,
and we would have like, 1 license and 5 users. They don't do that anymore. So in order to update the Adobe, we have to have per user subscription license.
Yeah.
Which is more of a cost.
So this is unrelated to something we all talked about, which is the upgrade to software in the town more generally, which I think we are held off to.
for the financial.
Yeah, for the financial software. This is separate.
All that.
It is, yeah. We also needed some website accessibility project that we need to update. The additionally, and then we also had additional users for new employees for our IT service, desktop service fee, where we submit tickets. They charge us per user. So we've hired some more people and our user fee has gone up.
So in the future, when we're doing a budget and adding people, are we increasing that component of our budget?
It is on my list now.
Okay. That's all we could ask.
The next one is the assessor's expenses. So as you know, Michelle left and we have an interim principal assessor. We are paying him as a vendor. So we will need to transfer salaries to expenses to cover that. Legal expenses, I've talked about this, I think, all year. If we wanted to dive into that a little more, but that's my estimate right now, what we might need for that line.
I guess what we would like at the next meeting maybe is to have a list of what those expenses are, because years ago we received that, and now we're just hearing they're going up, but we're not seeing lists of what we're spending the legal expenses on.
Yeah, I keep track of that every year.
Yeah, so if you can just give us a list at our next meeting, and then maybe once a quarter during the year or something.
On the assessor's expenses, is that the delta of, what we're saving from the salary
Yeah.
or is it a overage? Or is it a total?
It's a little bit of an overage. Right now I have $25,000 left in assessor salary. So about $6,000 more.
Would if we approve this 31, would that 25 just go into the general?
We're not
No.
approving anything tonight.
Okay,
We're just discussing this.
okay,
And then when we get to the approval process, she would tell us exactly what account it's going into and what account it came from. So we'll be able to see more details
Yes.
on that. This was just kind of
Because
to
even-
give us a full
Expecting.
warning.
Yes.
But the reason it doesn't cover, in other words, there is some increase. I'm a little confused. What caused that increase?
So-
The vendor.
and
The vendor is just simply more expensive.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
it.
you have to pay overhead.
No, I I got it, I just wanted to clear.
Well, and I think that with an employee, we're paying benefits someplace else, and
Yes.
with a vendor, we're not paying, the benefits are all coming
Yep.
through the vendor. So the rate's higher.
On legal, there's, the sky's the limit for coming with, it just goes up exponentially, just about.
Yeah, when we were developing the budget this year, we looked back, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, and our budget amount over the last 3 to 5 years was routinely low. So there was some kind of correction needed anyways. However, this current fiscal year has been a very expensive legal year for us because of the number of special cases, which we can give you that list. I think we talked about it a little bit at that time. We can show that.
Contact, we have contract negotiations, we certainly had a ZBA case that I think went on for 4 years and it's finally been resolved. We had the 40B appeal. And
We also, select board approved, the appointment of a co-counsel, another local, more localized firm that can do for a lower hourly rate, do kind of more simple day-to-day type stuff for us. So if we had a contract for a vendor or for a professional service of some sort, instead of sending that to KP Law for $200 something now, we can send it to Tempest Fusion for hundreds for a quick review. So we're kind of trying to come up with some creative solutions to.
Well, just watch the budget go 135. I mean, the budget, no less than what we actually spent.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah, no. It's painful, but I think that, there were, speaking as ZBA chair, there were years when we were really restricted in our ability to get input from town council in advance of making a decision. Now there's easier access for that, which I think saves money in the long time because the decision should be better reducing the risk of an appeal, which costs more. But everything's become more complicated.
The management of council, that falls into your hands. And the actual management of legal counsel,
Yeah.
what they're doing and.
Well, technically, the select board is the authority of spending of the legal expenses. Usually, but day to day,
Yeah.
the policy really is that if you need legal advice, reach out to me and then we try to figure out a cost-effective way of getting that legal advice. Sometimes it can be, it's easy to kind of those hours to really rack up. And sometimes questions, we just ask the similar question for another board, we have the answer, so it's just kind of like managing it that way.
Well, it needs management, so.
For bigger legal cases, that type of stuff is elevated to the select.
It's not a complaint, it's just a reality.
Yeah.
I'm an attorney, know, oftentimes you don't get managed right, I mean.
Right.
You must know this
Well,
well.
the attorney tends to be much more reasonable if they know someone is looking at the bill and calls them back and says, you charged $4,500 to do fill in the blank. Believe it or not, I'm sure all attorneys are have high integrity and morals and what have you, but sometimes they're a little more careful.
So we had that conversation with KP Law around budget prep time, and they too were a little alarmed at the 5-year look back, not even realizing like how much. And we put a pin in the discussion for now, but
Yeah.
we started to talk about maybe it makes more sense to have some type of like retainer. And then, you know, special cases would build off of that versus just an hourly rate. So.
Well, the other thing we do, we get a big legal bill, we just call up and say, it's too high. Cut this down. And they know we're a good client, so they go, okay,
Yeah.
what do you think it should be? $10,000 off that $45,000, you know, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Amazingly, yeah.
I don't know if you're comfortable with it, but Ann may remember years ago, we used to literally on the finance committee get like once a quarter, once every 2 months, a list of the legal things in process. And it was set up like a spreadsheet with columns. And I remember at one time we had 11 or 13 law events happening in progress. And the first row was the date was first for this year. So this committee actually looked at that and said, you know, we've been working on this one now for 4.5 years. Should we consider making this a priority to end it? And I'm thinking of certain individual had a garage, a hole, and some of these things became so ridiculous. It was like, let's just get it off the books. And I know you don't need more management, but sometimes a group looking at something every 2 months is a helpful reality check to say, how are we gonna roll this over? Yeah, finish the line. So I just put that out.
The next one is land use salaries. I compared each of the salaries and looked at the HTC clerk had additional hours. I know they had some projects in downtown, so I'm gonna look into that. The next one, the facilities expenses, 75,000 for electricity. I'm doing a full analysis of electricity. Because it's hit a lot of departments, like Chuck and I were just talking about this earlier, because like the water department seems okay, but every other department has been hit by electricity. So that's something I'm working on.
And you changed this year's budget so that you've got a piece of the electricity in your budget.
I do, yes. Yeah.
This indicates that it's well above what that is, right? If that's what you're telling us.
Yes.
Yeah, this is more than the rate changes, just on much higher uses too.
Right, right. If you remember, like last July, August, I mean, it was like 90 something degrees over a long period of time. And now we have the HVAC unit and that was running a lot longer. So again, I'm gonna look into it and see where it goes.
Certainly when we converted over the heating system, we were told it would be less expensive. Just saying.
I didn't say that.
Well, it should be, it's more efficient than electric resistance.
Yeah,
But we didn't have air conditioning before, so we're adding a lot of power.
Right, I think that's it, yeah.
Yes.
And I'll tell you that it's pretty cold in here in the summer.
Yeah.
I think there could be adjustments on the temperature.
I'm freezing.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I looking at it.
Yeah, I wear a sweater on purpose to, because I don't be cold.
Right. So there's opportunities for,
I was also just wondering, I know electricity is showing up on 4 of these items. Are all our electric bills, how many electric bills do you have? Do they all come in under different account numbers? Is there any chance to like aggregate them all up and negotiate a different, like one bill number?
I would love
I know
that.
you're
And
dealing
I-
with utility, but
I know, I've talked to National Grid several times about that. And that's just not how they're set up. Because I was like, it would be nice to have like one master Town of Manchester account and then have the sub accounts underneath it. Like, I mean, you can do it with a bank account, you can do it with, other places. But they're like, no, we absolutely do not do that.
It's like Adobe subscription model.
Oh, I mean, see, a 75,000, I mean, it sounds like a plug number for a slush fund. I mean, are there bills that do we show where this money is? Because
I do.
it seems like we need backup for something.
well, she's looking at the actual
Yeah.
expenses and versus the budget.
So I'll have
I
that.
guess just one more comment. This is kind of like a 5-year, 10-year thought process plan, but if there's any places that we can put solar and offset rates,
Yes.
and I don't know where that is, on the top of this or on top of that or something, but
Yeah, parking
I
lot.
mean, there's so much bandwidth to deal with, but
Let's root it some.
that stuff does pay back for itself. And if we can we can nick this a little bit before it gets really astronomical, that would be good.
The other thing is, it's the beauty of being a utility is that you have a monopoly and your customer can't go anywhere else. So when they say, gee, Andrea, I understand what you're asking for, we just don't do that, which is sort of like the,
Yeah.
call it the Irish salute or the whatever it
Right.
is, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes you say, well, guess what? I have a meeting with the municipal Cape-Ann Municipal Finance Officers Association. We just might form a little group to talk to you. That would cause shivers to go through their bone structure. So, you know, there are some ways. I'm not, you know, I know something else to do.
National Grid doesn't shiver.
The next one is unemployment expense.
I don't get this one at all.
Right. So this is very recent. So we had a retired officer that we were using for police details, and they aged out per the state requirement. And so we were misinformed that they could not claim unemployment because it's like a forced retirement. But that's not the case. So we are appealing it, but that's the amount that we would owe if the appeal is not in our favor.
For details?
How long can unemployment
Yes.
be? Is there a limit to the time frame?
I'm not sure about the time limit, but they're limited to $33,150 maximum pay.
A year? Or
No, total.
Okay.
Yeah, if the state terminated the employment, then it should be.
Believe me, yes. So that's why we're appealing it, because, you know, and it's police details, so it's like, you know, but a majority of the details that he did work are town details. So it is town money as well.
So do we have a procedure in place that in the future we figure out when somebody ages out?
We do.
Oh, good.
We have a procedure in place that reviews all unemployment claims, and we get a lot that you know, if somebody who works for the town in a seasonal capacity and also works for a private company in a seasonal capacity, they file for unemployment, they list both. And sometimes that comes to us, so then we have to go through an appeal process and explain why, you know, it's not our claim. So,
Do we have any control over who works details?
Yeah.
So. I don't get this. I don't get this. I mean,
So our policy now is that we're not gonna be, you know, we'll not hire retired officers for our details.
The detail's not a full-time job, it's not.
It can be a,
oh, yeah.
I mean, like if when we're reviewing Pleasant Street and there's an officer there for the summer.
Yeah, the cell phone.
And then when the
It can be full-time.
file for unemployment.
Well, we've got
Not
one on
necessarily.
our street who's been working 8-hour shifts every day.
Like we work for someone else, like a private party, like a weekend, and then works for the town, well, that's. Now
it's more, we have
you're not an
reserve,
employee, you're kind of a.
we have reserve officers that are not full-time employees. And if details are made available and there's no full-time employee that takes it, then reserve officers have the opportunity to take it. In this case, it wouldn't matter whether he was full or part-time. He aged out from being able to be a police officer by state law. And then filed unemployment and put us as an employee.
There's just no guarantee, like the next day you get more details, right?
He
Right.
can't, he
can't.
can say,
No, no, no. If I'm doing details right now, and I'm not close to the age of land. There's no guarantee I get a detail tomorrow or next week, is that?
Right, exactly.
So that's not like,
Right, but that's just how the unemployment process works. You list your previous employers and then they send it to us, and then it's on us to kind of catch it and make the appeal.
Yeah.
And make the claim why we should.
I get my thing, like trying to claim.
That's why our legal was expensive.
That's just done.
It's arbitration.
In-house, that's not with legal.
Okay.
It's arbitration. So is your decision ability to choose who gets these details covered by the contracts, or do you have a fair amount of latitude to say this person's retired or not?
Union contract does dictate that they get first bid at the details.
For full-time office,
Yeah.
but the reserves aren't in the union, correct?
They're not.
Yeah.
However, at a certain age, you can't be a reserve officer anymore.
What age is the age you
I
like?
think, is it 65 or 50?
It's 60. I think it's 65.
Yeah.
But it's
Have to
older
check out.
than the
Yeah.
retirement age, so
Right.
there's a band in there where.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yes.
watch this.
Right. So you could be a retired police officer, but you're still eligible to work as a reserve officer for 10 more years.
Yeah.
Which
I just
actually,
wanted to make you
that-
aware of it.
well, for the most part, that is a huge benefit to us.
Right.
Huge benefit. Yeah.
That's fine.
Is this something new that's come up, or is this happening every year and I just have missed it?
No, this is new.
The person filed, most
Yes.
usually they don't file, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the.
And this is the first time we've ever had someone reach the age as well. So. Lots of situation.
That's a different one. This is the first time we've had some reach create
To, like, we're,
and file.
right.
What department was that employee carried?
Police department.
Please.
The next was casualty property. I realized I forgot to include, 7,500 of that 12,000 is, a legal settlement we had. That was not included in the budget. And then I get the renewal for the marina policy in May. Unfortunately, so it went up a lot higher than I previously anticipated. And then we had some other
Is that
claims as well.
related to our launcher operations? I mean, the launch operations is, should we be allocating more expense in this particular category to the launch operation than we have in the past?
Right, well, I'll have to talk to our insurance rep for that, because we did the marina policy before we had the launch. And the launch is effectively covered under that policy. So that, like, adding the launch didn't change the policy, just the rates went up.
So maybe we
So
don't
it's a
have to ask the
refund.
question.
It's just, because I remember debating a little bit whether we were allocating
Right.
enough in the insurance area.
Right.
Launch, but I gather it's simply a rate increase.
Right.
I'm all too familiar with this.
I would expect them to come out of the pocket budget.
The next one's police expenses. I talked to Todd today. He said he needs some more funds, that he's providing a memo.
What's it for?
Todd's gonna provide a memo to me, so I don't have it yet. The next one is fire expenses. That includes electricity, it includes medical evaluations, for the new hires, uniforms and protective equipment for the new hires. We also have increased, ambulance billing collection fees, because we are actually collecting more, and I believe it's 4% of whatever they collect is what they charge us for fees. So we did not include that in the budget.
So this is a result of the SAFER grant that was granted during the fiscal year, so we didn't know about it when we did the budget, so we didn't know to include additional expenses for new hires.
Correct.
Sounds like it's a wide range of things.
It is.
No, but for new employees, we should be including them in the budget, but the SAFER grant was granted
As to
in the fall, I think, after we did the budget. That's why we had to do a reserve transfer from the FinCom account earlier this year for the match, the 13,000 or whatever it was, yeah.
I believe that was for the SCBA grant.
Oh, okay.
15,000.
That wasn't SAFER, no,
No,
okay.
So with the SAFER grant, obviously we pick up another employee a couple part. They have to go through training. There's probably OT associated with that. Has that been rolled into our budget that we did this year, or does that catch up on next year?
So we did include it in this year's budget.
Okay,
But it wasn't covered by the proceeds from the grant.
The overtime is not covered, the salary, 75% of the salaries. Yes.
75%.
With all the firefighters we have, I would expect there wouldn't be OT.
Including training, just say for include training, is that under salary?
If it's under their regular time. So what they're trying to structure it as.
training's like 4K, it's the OT, that's the thing.
I gather it's the OT that drives it, but it's not the actual training.
The next one is parking clerk expenses. We talked about those municipal parking sticks. We're on year 2 of year 5 of the contract.
Do I gather these stakes are not a success?
How do you measure success?
Right.
That it doesn't cost us more than it used to achieve.
It's definitely not a profit enterprise, but it does. It's been effective in turning over parking spaces. Which was the original, from what I understand, was the original kind of initiative on it was circulate parking spaces.
I thought it's because we had a hard time finding people who would be parking enforcement
Right.
focused.
Well, it was putting them in a tough position.
That was one of the things.
For
Are parking fees, for, when someone parks too long, are they benchmarked appropriately? Or should we be pulling in more revenue from that to help cover this? That's a selective question, I'm sure, but
I have to double check with Todd on that, because I think some of that is dictated. I gotta
it's a state.
By the state
It's something,
like
yeah.
how much.
Because it would be interesting, to know whether the violations on Beach Street cost less than it costs to park in the lot.
That's true in Boston.
Yeah.
Cheaper to run a tab.
And my guess is it is here too, that I think that's part of the game, and it may be because we don't have control over how much we can fund.
If you had a standalone kiosk that you had to.
Yes.
Right? You would then have to pay for the enforcement side of ticketing those who overstay, where the sticks are doing all of that automatically. So when you compare the two options, it's not as drastic as what Phil.
I knew this was the contract, but the rate changes with like inflation or.
The rate doesn't change. It's based off of like a rolling 3-month average. So it depends on how many violations are issued, and we're required to pay a $200 minimum per stick.
Activity based.
If we checked and made sure and we are able to raise our violation rates to the highest possible level, we're achieving what we bought the sticks for, and we may be taking a little of the red.
I'll check
stick.
I'll check with Todd.
The part of the resident stickers really, really bothers me. And I hope that we're gonna be looking at that whole situation. When that conversion was done, we were told it would save the town money.
Yeah.
And it's costing us a heck of a lot of money, and it's making the parking lot not accessible to many town residents because people get a sticker for every car, so all the kids go individually in cars now rather than having to go together because parents didn't buy a sticker for each of the cars they owned. So this one greatly disturbs me because we questioned it when it was really originally recommended, and we were told it would save us so much money. Well,
The next one is harbor expenses. We ended up moving from, since Microsoft is not supporting Access database, which is what we use for billing and tracking and things like that, with town lines. I may have another funding source for the $4,000, but I just want to put it here just in case. And then 3,500 for uniforms, because now they have the same uniforms. So they're harbor officers now, instead of, harbor assistants. It has to do with the new safety requirements and things. And then water salaries expenses, sewer salaries expenses, I'm looking into this. I just put numbers in there for now. It's definitely probably not gonna be $50,000 each. But there's some items that are over, like electricity, contracted services. We didn't have the renewal for the year, for the budget, so that's about $21,000 over. Lab testing is over, and professional
Is that
services.
we're doing more lab testing, or again, this is the rate increases for all sorts of elements that are now listed? Is that, but I mean, this number is driven by just simply
Both.
they charge more to do it.
I was both. More labs and,
We test more than the state recommendations.
no, at the state just needs hands.
So on some of these things that come up during the year, is there a way for us to be better equipped with understanding the cost when we're doing the budget cycle? I mean, can we press to find out what rate increases are gonna occur, et cetera, before we get into the year? Do we have any control over that? It would be good to think about that. Yeah.
I know a lot of times for, our annual costs for, say, like, our permit software or software products and things like that, the rates already baked in, so we do include that, but
Yeah.
sometimes the rates, like, I think, Chuck, you have a lot of them that are like based off of like consumer price index and,
So like our things that renew on fiscal, like the water services contract for current, that is based on a like March CPI. So like they're not willing to give us a firm price in October. They're waiting to see what the CPI is in March for that July one.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So like we don't typically have it. Back in October, sure.
You wouldn't have it before town meeting because it's too fast between
Yeah.
release of the March CPI for that.
Yeah.
to actually figure
Yeah,
out.
typically it
Yeah.
hasn't worked that way, like, we could sort of, that's kind of working on it.
But sadly, inflation is going to probably continue. So they're having a way to try to take this under the budget a little bit would be very useful. There's a general concept. I don't know how to do that,
I
but
mean, one that drives me insane is the chemicals and the tariffs that we had to pay. And then they're getting all the money back from the tariffs,
So we don't get.
and we're not getting any of that money.
Right.
Like, that's just like, it's crazy.
So the total budget for a year is like $35 million. Something like that.
total 42.
Well, 42.
Everything, yeah.
So this number here is 400 and something. So we're talking about 1%. And so the question that would, from the 30,000 feet is, can we be more accurate so that we don't have to just
But just
keep
remember,
what's served?
no, but remember, this number is coming from other areas of budget where we saved money. So it's not, we're not spending an
It
additional.
hasn't netted out. So
Right, this is before the net out. Yeah, I mean, this is, but what amount do you think is gonna need to come out of the FinCom
that's-
reserve? That's the,
yeah,
But
they're quite
Exactly.
What?
we don't have that much.
No, I went through and including the reserve fund, I've already told up $855,000 of turnbacks, already.
So we shouldn't have to tap the reserve fund at all. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, you don't need to.
Okay.
I usually use the reserve fund if in case like there's anything in like an enterprise fund. It's easier to transfer from reserve fund than from another department.
That's good.
Yeah, but I think that, we kind of feel that the reserve fund should be unexpected
Yes,
Right.
you know.
Not for this.
expenses, right, not for excess expenditure, or for
I think that's
unanticipated.
that's
New,
that.
yeah,
I'm saying,
I mean, I think the quarterly reports you give us are very helpful. And going through and looking at the delta, or looking at the percent spent.
yes,
There's some stuff that's not symmetrical, but when you see something really, react.
Right.
But some of the stuff lumps up in Q4, well, for the budget, and that's where this becomes a little problematic, like, okay, why didn't we know about that earlier? Yeah.
Well, I know some of the larger ones, like the municipal parking fix, legal,
she's
like
told us about it before,
Yeah.
yeah, we were aware of that.
Yeah. Electricity is tough because it, like, you see in the summertime, it's like really, really high. Winter it kind of goes lower, and then, you know, rates change and things like that. And I don't know until
Right,
it like jumps back up again.
and your peak usage is right around the beginning of one year, and the end of another.
Right.
So you've got kind of like a billing transition, is what they're used to. At least for.
So. When we look at the schedule. We have to approve these before the 15th of July, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the select board has to approve them.
Correct.
Does it matter the order in which that's done?
No.
So it looks like we need to have a meeting on July 9th. Is that correct?
That'd be great.
Because last year we had to schedule it at the last minute.
Right.
And there won't be any changes after July 9th.
Correct.
Anything else on that from anybody? Next item is an update on the sanitation contract. I read something in the paper about Gloucester and it made me super nervous.
Gloucester and Beverly are feeling the pain right now. They are in a similar boat as us, as that their public contract expires in June. Public, like many other curbside collectors, are pushing automated collection. And I know Beverly better than Gloucester, but they're moving to that automated collection transition starting July 1st. Which is leading to an increase in their trash fees, and that's where like a lot of the newspaper articles are about. It's like sudden, your trash fees going up, $100 something starting next month type of thing. And you're gonna be limited on how much trash and how much recycling you put out, and these are the size barrels, and it is a, in every town, it is a, difficult conversation.
But where do we stand?
We have been begging Republic to give us a formal contract. They've given us numbers, they've given us kind of a breakdown, we've asked them to put it into a contract. We've expressed to them that we don't want to transition to automated collection on July 1st. We know it's coming. We prefer to kind of go through a public process before we do that. But that will come at a cost. The future contract is more expensive for every month that you don't do automated collection.
But how do the numbers we're receiving compare to what was in the budget? We had 520.
Yeah, go ahead.
We had a good.
I mean, I see no issues with our FY 27 budget.
Good, okay.
I think the question that the 20 and I have been discussing is there, is the carts themselves and how we recoup the bag fees that we are currently have as a revenue source versus potential fees, and so we're trying to really have those numbers up firm before we roll out whatever, the program is.
Well,
But I don't think that's a cost issue with the public so
Right.
much as different size cards cost different amounts. The fallback plan, if you go with the smaller cards, which is cheaper, becomes more, a burden on the resident. So like there's lots of things, lots of kind of details that we don't have because we're so waiting on the contract. To be fair. But the contract itself will be covered in that.
we do need to be careful about stopping a lot in fees versus covering it in the property taxes, because the property taxes are deductible at the federal level and fees are not. And one of the savings we have in our, what?
If you had.
Right, if you have that. So the extent to which we can drag it out, then we've got savings from the OPEB that would cover the lost revenue from those orange bags. But that would be a year out.
Yeah, in the very, again, there's a lot of discussion to go through, but our initial analysis was that if someone puts one bag of trash out every other week, they're spending $100 to $150 in bags a year. So with the automated collection, you're removing that expense. So, that's a very conservative kind of soft approach that if we did have to do a fee, we try to keep it to that or less. We don't really know how it divides up, as far as people putting one bag out every week or two bags or one every other week. But we're kind of using that as a gauge.
I don't think one bag a week, frankly.
I don't put out a bag a week. I don't. I do about a bag a month.
Well, it's $11 for 5 bags, figure,
Get a lot of bag.
I have that's kind of the math.
$11 a month.
Yeah.
And it's $150 for the year, so.
I have an interesting question. How much
If you
does
get
it
about,
cost us per household to collect trash? So how much does it cost the town?
Current arrangements.
Yeah, under the current arrangements, how much does it cost the town to come to 11 Jersey Lane where I live and pick up the trash?
Take the
Collection.
budget and divide it by.
You said the new rate or the old rate?
No, the old rate was 365,000 and what, 3,600 households?
plus the disposal, pick up and dispose.
About like $420,000 a year, 400,000 on trash collection. Like
No, collection was
445, something like that.
365 in the budget.
Okay.
Yes, right.
Disposal was separate.
Right.
Was 200, but collection was 365 in the
Okay, well,
fiscal year
I think I would add those two together.
Yeah.
And then
So that's
divide by-
605.
then divide by the number of households.
2,900.
2,900,
Oh, okay, sorry.
well, households.
What?
So is it about $2,000 a year per household? That's the way it worked out,
How many households?
2,900?
No, it's more like.
We don't pick up for a commercial.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, number of households.
26, yes.
So just, I think there's two things to consider when you look at your fees.
Well, we just do that first.
Yes, no, the math should, take into consideration, like you said, Sarah, there are some, entities where we don't pick up the trash. That includes some households who are required to have private trash.
Oh, okay.
That's all I know. It's not a blanket, every household gets their trash picked up.
Right, but we also.
There's 2,300 residential housing units is my understanding.
I thought it was more than that. I thought it was 3200 or.
You probably go.
It was about 2,400, I think, but a certain percentage of those, if they're an apartment or other types of complexes, their trash is not picked up by the town. I just wanted to
Right.
raise that.
So the GAR's question, he said.
2,500 sold.
That's $2,000 and $600
$242.
per year. Per year.
If I take 605,000 and divide it by 2,500, it's $242.
Doesn't that seem like a bargain?
It's $20 a month.
I mean, there are many things that seem like a
And
bargain.
we've been using 300,000 of bag fees to cut that in half. So
And that's what we're losing. That's what we're trying to replace.
yeah, but that's not very much.
No. Yeah, because the other option is how much does it cost to hire 4 employees in the garbage truck? We
Well,
can bring our own trash.
we're not gonna,
I'm-
I'm not gonna, sorry.
It's actually, that's not a wild idea. We've looked at it though. The issue that you run into is that we do have a contract with Wheelabrator for trash, but recycling
Would be an issue.
is managed by Republic or Waste Management or, the companies that do the collection. And they're gonna end up hitting us on the other end.
Yeah, they will.
So I drive a road in Peabody that's normally manually picked up, and I've been watching this for years. And for the last 2 months, they have an automated system that runs down that road. And I'll tell you, it's impressive. This thing moves
It goes
really fast.
Yeah.
But you want to be damn careful if you've got a dog or an elderly person out there. And they're not. I mean, this thing is like a tree. But where I'm going with this is, that's Route 114 coming out of or the North Shore Mall. How does this work on our streets? I mean, I think the rates are gonna be reflective of the water curve. No, I know, but,
It's all little towns,
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, there are a lot of little roads in Manchester.
Yeah, so they'll have a
And this one,
different
they
truck,
are interesting.
they'll have a different truck for the smaller, tighter roads that probably doesn't lift it up over the top. It just,
Right.
the guy wants to get out and,
things that use the
Use
trees
that
that
for
over on the street. That's not our
I
problem.
mean, the bigger,
I know, I'm thinking about rates.
the cost of the contract was going up around 300,000, 280, I think you said. And we're gonna be losing 300,000 in bad revenue. So it's $600,000, close to $600.
No, that's not what we have in here. That's not what we have here. We have 5
Right, but you're gonna
Disposal.
combine the two. So,
No, we had 200 in. We decreased the disposal line. So we have a total of 720 versus 605. Well, it's not. Huge.
that sound right? I feel like when we were. There was.
That might be right, I
Something
think.
more.
Oh, wait a minute, sorry. Well, no, you changed it to 885.
When the numbers came in.
Yes. Yeah,
So this is a transition. But next question is, once we get through this transition, all the barrels and all that business. Are we looking at the same sort of trajectory of increase each year?
That's what I'm more concerned about is FY 27 we feel comfortable with, especially we're gonna increase the bag fees to kind of cover some of that cost. But once we do the transition, what Republic sent us was what, 5% increase per year in the total cost of the contract for a 5-year contract. So we're pushing back. But it's the out years that.
So one more question on this front. If the town invests in a whole bunch of barrels or residents invest in a whole bunch of barrels, does that tie your hands on who you can negotiate with to as another hauler? Or is it barrel specific?
But the universal.
Or are they universal enough that you get bad vibe from somebody who, yeah, with all the barrels?
Yeah, they're gonna be our barrels.
When you look at all the other towns that do it, it's the name of the town on the barrels,
Yeah.
not the whole.
It might be like a beach sticker where you get a different color barrel every year and it's $150 a barrel. So,
Right.
you know, you have your, so that's one way to supplement it. But
What
We
is it?
talk-
Get rid of trash barrels.
Well, is it based on the weight of trash or number of households? What is the structure?
They're separate for collection and disposal.
But some of the weight, so part of the consideration as to whether or not you impose fees is if you impose a fee, it incentivizes people to throw out less, therefore reducing the weight of the trash and potentially a contractual.
I don't.
I think the other.
I don't think that's true.
Yes.
That's what we talked about before. It's
Incentivizing the compost, so it's a whole thing, looking at all three elements, the recycling, the trash and the compost. Holistically.
Yeah, we had a guys to talk to them about ramping up the promotion and tracking of residents utilizing Black Earth, which in Manchester by the Sea, it's the best bargain. It's free. And so, and that's the heaviest product in the waste stream. So the more we can push the composting.
So you charge people less for trash barrels if they.
Do we give, we could do like, if there was a trash fee, you could give an abatement for those who are enrolled in Black Earth.
It probably would cost us more to do the calculations that would make them. Yeah,
How do you monitor the usage of recycling? I mean, you have to somehow keep track of that?
Compost,
Oh, okay.
compost, yeah, Black Earth, we track it.
But I think both elements. It gets reduced by both elements.
in the Gloucester contract, they were having a larger barrel for recycling and a smaller barrel
Exactly.
for trash, and then I think they weren't charging for the first set of barrels. But like if you want, and I think it was 35 gallons for trash, which isn't very big.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted more, you had to pay for another barrel.
Right.
So you can do it based on the size.
35 gallons is about the size of a large bag that we use. It's something like that.
Felt like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, the big push was to recycling because
Right.
it was cheaper.
Which is why we put in the orange bags.
Recycling's now more expensive than
Right.
trash, so really the solution is, the true
Put it all
cost
in
saving
trash.
solution is compost.
Yeah. Double
For now.
is we trained everybody to separate stuff.
Right.
Yes, and it went to single stream, it's like that lessons.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did have somebody this afternoon said, I wish we all had to take our trash to the, you know, whatever they call it, the.
Transfer
station.
Or transfer station. I love being able to talk to people at the transfer station. It was like a community communication,
you still can do that.
yeah,
I do think like that. Like you could go stand there.
I do. I spend each day.
So you know about parking in Boston, you know where the bargain is there.
Between
The green sign, and I'll tell you.
between curbside collection, the transfer station and free compost. That is like gold star service compared to other communities, not that you have great curbside and transfer, or they're paying for compost. And we have a Cadillac version.
And we're.
But in other
and we're
parts
doing
of
it
the
at
country,
$240
they don't-
per house.
In other parts of the country, they don't charge for the barrels, they don't charge anything for trash collection.
But really,
we pay about $1,000 a week for composting.
You shouldn't.
I think we do. I mean,
Well, we.
Sixty.
Oh, for our-
I don't know, I must have rushed
You
you.
don't write a check to Black.
no, but the town pays
Sorry.
Black Earth.
That also gets reduced over time. So
More compost you produce.
it's gonna be.
Because they really want the product.
It is
So
complicated.
that's a moment.
Let's move on. Update on Central Street Culvert. Do we have an update on the grants?
Well, so, NEMA reached out to us that they heard that FEMA was asking if we, if December of 2027 was enough of an extension on the brick grant. We responded requesting it to go to July of 28, so that way we have the full ability of either this winter season or next winter season. It'll be a few weeks, sure, before we hear back, but it's a good sign that FEMA was asking that question.
Great. It still exists.
Now the PFAS contract, I think that went out to bid.
Yeah, so the general contract went out to bid.
Yeah.
I think we got numbers that were in line with our estimates. So, and we actually did issue a notice of intent to award, but it's pending we are on the intended use plan for SRF, but we also need to go through the formal application process,
Okay.
which takes a few weeks. And so that's in process, but we can't award the contract until SRF says it's okay to award the contract.
So
That's where we're at.
you found that the upfront cost difference between SRF and conventional.
Yeah, we were actually
it
shocked
wasn't
at how
much different. Yeah.
very close they were.
Yeah, okay.
I believe it was around $150,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like that, $11+ million bid.
So Andrea, how does that impact the difference in interest rate? How does that impact projected cost of the tax rate?
It'll lessen it,
Be it half?
roughly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of a 3% increase, it'd be 1.5% increase.
The other thing, Andrew, I don't know if we've taken this account. I was on the glorified public service announcement before, but from SRF today, and they also issued 0% bans, so you don't have to ban it at all. So I don't know if we've taken that into account, but so the
No, we
whole
have not.
duration of the project is basically for
What does SRF stand for? I'm sorry.
state revolving.
State revenue revolving fund.
The environmental trust of the state.
On the day you're all voting, which is Tuesday, somebody mentioned that some of the laws were under revision or something. And
Yeah.
is that hold water or not?
Well, it is true that EPA did issue different guidance and future forward thinking vision to PFAS, but they would not impact the Linkage Tree Well project at all. They're all like separate things that don't really apply to Linkage Tree.
And keep in mind, DEP codified similar requirements, so even if EPA backed off on their requirements, unless the state does the same, we would still be subject to the.
You can't believe the state will change.
Anticipated that. I was just
Okay. Update on launch service subscriptions for this year. And Harbor Tour promo.
But just so I understand where we came out in the last Central Street. I think I'm hearing big news. That's
The brick grant was for like 4.8 million. And they came back and said, do you want an extension through
Right.
December of 27? And we asked for July of 28. So if that grant comes through, we basically don't have to bond.
Right.
Income. That
That's what I
covers
said.
almost
It's all
100%
good
of the
news.
cost.
So you basically are.
I won't say that until we have a signed extension in front of us, but feel good.
The signs are positive. There's a little bit of creep.
All right, so on the back side of this, down the bottom is your Harbor Launch subscription numbers, or align with what you were looking for in your agenda. So right now we're at 44, but it usually it hasn't fully come in yet, so he's expecting 70 plus.
So are they doing outreach to people? I know the first year we had a good response because Vine wanted to put it in until he did a lot of outreach, and I'm just wondering, are we still doing outreach?
He is, but, people don't usually purchase a subscription until their boat is in the water, is the way he put it to me. We're kind of in the middle of that phase.
Well, a lot went in this week.
Yeah.
Get a little warm weather and the boat's going in.
On the front side, what we did was we looked at, the harbor launch business plan that was created in 2024. And it broke down staff labor, off-season service storage, in-service season, and all of that. And it essentially estimated that the total annual expenses was $39,821. And that also factored in capital replacement fund, which was $8,400 a year for 15 years to cover the original $125 spent on purchasing the boats, plus $3,000 a year for engine transmission replacement. And then the revenue estimate at that time was $40,250. Thus, the net profit loss on the business plan should be around $429. That would cover all your expenses plus your repayment of the original purchase. On the right side, you have actual calendar year results of expenses and revenue. So when you take those into account, we're actually we're bringing in much more than the business plan is hoping for, which thus we're paying down the original 125 faster than the estimate.
Reason why I asked about the insurance a few minutes ago, because we didn't include that here. I can continue to wonder if that should have been, but we set it aside, but it's a side issue.
So when we look at this original big business plan, we had the 8,400 to pay off the loan in the boats, and we had 3,000 to accumulate money for engines. Are we separately accounting for that, or are we putting all of the excess against the capital?
I've been putting all the excess towards capital.
Okay. I don't know if it matters, it's 6 1/2 dozen of the other, but it just means that when an engine or a transmission needs to be replaced, there's not gonna be a kitty there that's set aside for it.
Well,
Instead, there'll be less due on the boats.
Yeah, so just for clarification, Peter and I worked on the initial business plan. The initial business plan was based only on the subscription, so to speak. It was not including the harbor boat tours, okay? It looks like we are now including them to kind of cover our costs. But I did want to make it clear that our initial business plan, that the tours we would consider approving at a later date, but it did not figure into the financials. I just want to clarify that.
thank you.
But I think it's reasonable to include it.
Oh, I think it's reasonable, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because, you know, when you see your subscriptions going down,
Right.
right? It's something to pay attention to, and we had very strict criteria in the business plan for if we reach a certain threshold, right, the service gets shut off.
Is that discipline still in place?
Sorry?
Is that discipline still in place?
That's why I'm bringing it up, because we have a new town administrator who wasn't here when we created the business plan. I made sure he had a copy of the original business plan and the agreement on it. It was 10% loss over 3 years, Peter. I forget exactly what it was, but
Our intent was to be in place. Good.
I have one other question, and that is $18 per hour a fully loaded cost of the employee?
They're all seasonal.
But there's I mean, if I see it, exact the full cost of the.
It's probably gone up, since that was done in 2024. I'm sure that rate has increased. I'm not sure what the current, you know,
Doesn't,
the
I
current.
don't think it doesn't include FICA.
Isn't the back the actual?
But no, it would just be the hourly rate salary, but I think maybe more than 18 now, I'm not.
But the column on the right shows the actual, which would be fully loaded, is that correct?
Yeah.
Fully voted meaning like includes FICA and
Yeah.
exactly.
All expenses for these employees.
Yes.
this just includes the salaries, the other one, it doesn't include FICA.
Just the hourly rate.
Right.
So
So can we adjust it to be fully loaded?
so
And with the current rate, we. Yeah.
It is the current, it includes
Tell
the
us
current
what the
rate.
current rate is.
So if you took 28,155 roughly, multiplied it times 7% for Social Security and Medicare.
No, we only do 1.45%.
So that's the only difference. Okay, it's pretty close.
Self-insured.
Are we worried about the trend and revenue deficit is up?
Well, I think that's why I included the Harbor Tours promo plan. Because what I was told before, we weren't really promoting it because,
What you have to watch with that Harbor Tours plan is that, you know, this is a launch service where subscribers go out to their boats. If they're gonna wait a half hour for the Harbor Tour to come back in, they're not gonna do that. So you can take advantage of things in the middle of the day, maybe, but. And there are 2 launches, so maybe we'll do something there, but you have to be careful.
It is a launch that we did business back.
Well, it's launched so the private business didn't want to have anymore, that's what I was restrictions around it, because they were losing money. A profitable, right, so we gotta keep.
It goes to money, it goes to work.
Yeah, exactly.
They were able to sell it to a buyer.
So are we revising our subscription rate? Tony, do you have some thoughts on that?
The fee for subscription?
Yes.
We did intend to look at all harbor fees this year, this summer. The way that the schedule for the fees for the harbor is that you introduce that process now so that you can make the change in the fall and they go into place.
No,
It won't happen this
it won't
summer.
happen this season.
It'd be like after. It's odd because it could go into play halfway through the fiscal year. However, the way that we do accounting on harbor, we do by the calendar year. So not this year, but next year.
I
If
understand,
changes.
we're asking very simple
Yeah.
answers. No.
I know, it's a, sorry to give you a complicated answer.
so as part of giving us the quarterly reports that you give us, can you give us an update on the launch service at the same time? Okay, great. Yeah,
It did for the first quarter.
well, by June 30th,
Well, I'm saying the first, the fall, so.
No.
we're on a calendar.
Well, I was thinking all the action and expenses are essentially in the summer.
right, and we are next. We get a quarterly report for April through June, which should have a good indication of what the revenue is.
Subscription should be in, but I was thinking about the expense, that's why we had different answers. I was thinking September 30 will be.
You're telling me.
Right,
But we're really telling, in my view.
Yeah.
The revenues.
but if we're still at 44, we know we're in trouble.
Exactly. The launch will be shortly.
We need to find what would like to buy this.
Will be out.
This is from the day.
Got starts at 8.
Sounds like a 10-hour day,
Yeah.
call it a quarter, 13 weeks.
You know, they
Seven
said,
yes.
he's divided this season in two parts, and it's 10 in the morning till a certain time before the season really gets going, so July, and then it's 10 at night. There's, the season starts, then September comes along, and then it shortens the month again.
Okay. Next was to revisit the 25-year capital plan.
Right,
I don't think we received anything, did we?
That's about newspaper.
what I'm handing out to you is the work in progress.
Okay,
We've been looking at the capital plan and especially where some of the discussion that we've had is, this project on the capital plan or it wasn't?
right,
But when I go through records of the town hall, looking back to 2019, a lot of those projects are. So to me, I feel like there's kind of like a disconnect of what is the capital plan for. So we've talked about dividing the layers. What you're looking at here is, first page is basically the most recent capital plan. Chuck and Nate did some adjustments on the dollars based on inflation. And this is just their list. You'll see that first one is fleet. We're gonna have a separate kind of fleet schedule that'll feed into this.
okay,
With total cost. Your next page starts to break that out into years,
okay,
right?
Yep.
But it's still separated by category. I think the next page is really what we want to be looking at, which is more of a chronological order. Looking at how these items kind of feed into our 5-year plus look.
yeah, because, I mean, one of the things we were looking at was the cost of bonding and all of that, and what the impact would be,
Yes, so
and that's the next page.
that's the next page, which I think this to me is kind of a, you take those different category
Yep,
capital items, summarize them into this top half, and this gives you your debt projections for those projects.
and the expected cost.
And then I just have placeholders in there. What I think next would be your baked out fleet schedule. And then after that, I was thinking, some of these projects start with feasibility study. So, and it would just be good to kind of have a list of that too. And not. So it's a work in
And
progress.
it's almost like on the fleet section. It should almost be that we come up with a certain dollar amount per year that's reasonable for fleet.
Right.
Because I think, because
Lumpy though, because big, he's right, got plants, otherwise three, a cop car.
A lot of variation in there, dump trucks.
Yeah. About a year's no big deal, but a giant dump truck.
But we have the fleet schedule. Is per year kind of looks at how old a piece of equipment is, when you expect to replace it. So when you go back to, that third sheet, the fleet line would be the sum of fleet expense for that given year rolled in, and then each year kind of
Okay,
adjusted
okay.
based on the fleet schedule.
okay,
I like it though.
yeah,
This is great, yeah.
So I had this up, we're gonna go from about 6 million of debt to about 80 million. Yeah. All right.
well, no, because we're only gonna enter into debt as we're rolling off debt.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how fast.
Well, that's
We
what-
pay off $5, $8, $10 million of debt every year? I don't think so.
the whole purpose of this is for us to look at the projects and figure out when we should schedule them.
Right.
Not saying that we have to do it on this schedule.
No, I'm not saying they have to do it, I'm just saying,
Because-
if I total up the lines of additional new cash for bond, I come out to about 80 million.
So that sheet you're looking at. It's from like last year,
Okay.
so that needs to be updated. But I put it in here because I think it's what we're most familiar with looking at. So these front pages are gonna kind of feed into this. And this is gonna tell the story of the debt service of the project that you're getting into or have on the books currently. And then you can use this when you're contemplating a proposed project as to how that's gonna impact your debt schedule moving forward compared to the revenue. The sheets before that are just kind of more of a it's not debt, it's just cost and
Expenditure.
yeah.
Because we don't enter into debt to do fleet. Never have, never have. That's been kind of one of our policies.
Fire trucks, that's it.
No, we haven't entered into debt.
That's a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've always had and that's what we have to keep remembering back. We have certain categories of capital expenses which are kind of recurring. And those we've never entered into debt for, and I think we want to try to keep that path. Reserve the debt for the larger items, and then we also have to remember our policy that debt service won't exceed 10% of the operating.
When you use the word debt, you mean long-term bonding? Okay, I just want to be sure of the word debt, because we do short-term borrowing too. But you're
Well,
not accruing
we only do short-term borrowing
that. It's just
in anticipation of a long term. And I think that our whole plan with the capital cash exclusion, which we did for a number of years, is that was a segue into long-term bond. And when we started doing long-term bond, we would no longer do the capital cash exclusion.
Right.
Which frees up that money for debt service payments.
Right.
But I think,
I want to be
yeah,
exactly express about this.
yeah.
It's
And I think we need to look at the whole picture and say, what's our dollar ceiling for a project of what we want to fit in to the annual budget versus when do we want to do long-term bonds?
So at 80 million, we're gonna add 3 million a year of operating costs related to interest. Let's say. Something like that, and which is.
Well, I think
On a
you're.
$40 million that budget, is, well, not outrageous.
Yeah, except I think that you're overstating things a lot, Gar, because for instance, in 2032, the school debt comes down, that's now 2 million a year. So a chunk of that comes off, of course, we're gonna have new school debt. But my understanding is, in talking to the school district, is the goal on the new school debt is to do short-term interest only during construction. And I believe the option that the school committee voted for was a two-phased approach and would spread construction over 4 years. So that certainly,
About inflation.
yeah.
I don't know. It's two-phase. If what the value.
So what the most recent plan that they're looking at would be in the location of the existing school. So they would have a phase of tearing down part of the school, building a new wing, then moving the people to the new wing, tearing down the old thing
Two-phase.
and moving, so it would be two phases, which would spread out the cost over a longer period of time, which would certainly help on the tax rate.
I believe with high school. High school is based.
Okay, so, yeah, warrant.
So.
So, no, wasn't, yeah.
Yeah. We had COVID, sure. Or,
Okay.
you know, sinister.
One of the great benefits.
But we're not moving people off. Just that, do things that was savings.
These,
So, Sarah, that started to say something which I think is really important, which is what is the threshold for debt? And
Right,
I think another criteria there should be how long we think that object's gonna last.
right,
So for example, I'm just thinking about like Chuck says, I need a new loader, which is $250,000. But he may change his mind in 2 years and say, you know, we've used this thing, we're gonna sell it, and I don't think we wanna be buying and selling capital items that are on long-term debt.
well, that's why we've never entered
Which is
into
why we've never
long-term
done
debt for fleet.
Which is why I think we just want to reemphasize that needs to be a certain threshold. And then whatever we're putting onto the debt schedule should be long-term,
Right,
relative
Yes.
to long-term.
right, not cash
Right.
capital, yeah.
Not things that are coming and going.
I think that what we did in the 27 budget is we said, okay, for dredging, assume a 10-year loan because we're gonna dredge every 10 years. Whereas for the other things, I think we assume 30. There, I think it was 30, right?
20.
20?
Right.
And
20,
more-
sorry, okay.
And more you'd expect for a vehicle, what would you expect for a moving capital item? Like, for being long term?
I think that's up to the different, I mean, police is 3 years on a cruiser. DPW.
Varies by piece of.
10 years, 12 years, 50.
But I think if we're not bonding them, then we don't
We
care
don't care.
as
I
far
agree.
as,
I agree.
and then which is.
So rolling stock. would
Yeah.
be unlikely to be bonded.
Right, I think we have to find a way, and I think that until Tappan Street. Did we bond for Pleasant Street? No, so until Tappan Street. We haven't done bonding for water and sewer infrastructure. We did for the sewer treatment plant.
We bonded 1.6 for planning.
No, that wasn't a bond, no,
There was some part of the $7.5 million bond.
no, that was separate. The 7.5 was for the sewer treatment.
So Dean, we had this pretty well planned out, that's how we worked the debt schedule, remember the fire that happened down on University Lane? That created like political uproar, and we were gonna shift all of the utility work around to appease people, and that was gonna really disrupt part of
Right.
that plan.
So I think that's one of the things that's concerning me is the fact that we did a bond for Tappan Street.
And
Whereas
it's a 30-year bond.
20, they're all
20-year
20,
bond.
I misspoke.
It was a bigger number.
Well, we used reserves. From Weston,
They're not, they're,
and we've used the reserves.
PFAS is 30, isn't it? And then the others are 20, and then dredging is 10.
So when I did all my projections, I did
15, it says
20 for
Yeah.
everything and then 10 for dredging.
Oh, 20 and 10.
Yeah.
The SRF is 20.
It is.
For PFAS. There's
and I'm
other things
hoping
that can be 30.
So this,
our schools last more than 20 years.
I think school goes out 30.
Okay.
Yeah, we hope for a 50-year life on a building.
Right.
That's kind of the target.
And historically, looking at the whole debt service, it looks like the town's policy was to keep it at 20 if we could, instead of 30, because you just save all that interest.
okay.
So,
So these years that are in this
This goes,
schedule need to be all changed.
yeah,
on the spreadsheets, it goes out to 2040 something,
Yeah.
2050, but it'd be 1 point bond if I put it all on here for you, so I just put it out to, 10 years for the printout, but we do have it, on the Right, computer goes further out.
I mean, does this tie into the operating budget forecast?
No, not yet. That's a separate worksheet that Andrew's been working on, but you can see kind of how this can branch into and feed into these other items.
Just like it would help with some of this, some of our capital expenditures, say like, yeah, we're gonna put a new senior center in. It's gonna cost more electricity, it's gonna cost maintenance, that's just the other thing. You can see the CapEx, and then you can see the impact. of CapEx.
I would,
Especially if you add up.
it gets very.
Yeah.
When you start putting operating expenses, it can really expand. But I do think that it's kind of natural to separate bonded capital from non-bonded annual capital, you know, like that's kind of the next layer. When you start getting into operations, it's really kind of expands.
Yeah, the only thing is, if you have these big projects, they're gonna actually really impact your admin budget. And you have to go, bond, fine, that good or interesting.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Maybe we,
Principal, the amortization, we're talking about amortization 10, 20 years, it's, double or half.
maybe we can come up with some type of percentage factor or something. Percentage of the cost.
Make it simple.
Yeah, to make
Yeah.
it simple.
Yeah, I don't mind that, just to be able to kind of know.
Whatever the capital cost of the project, if it's a building, obviously. We make some type of assumption as to a percentage that would increase the operating. And not try to be,
Yeah,
not try to fine tune it, but just,
Yeah, like,
yeah,
I struggle keeping it too capital myself, even. You know, is a feasibility study capital? Really, like we should be including it because it's kind of step one of a future capital project.
well, at least one, that's capital, it's not.
Right.
There you go.
well, yes, and I think that somehow. We have to have the annual. Non-bonded capital budget. To feed in the feasibility studies. To it, so that we're always paying for cash for the feasibility studies and not bonded.
Right.
Yeah, and somehow. We have to figure out,
You could bond, it was like a school, 30 or 50-year school, and you could some best study architectural stuff.
I just think for the smaller amounts we're spending, we should be trying to spend it from taxpayer dollars instead of bonding.
Yeah, I mean, from a financial point of view, if you had a column here that said, what are we doing on engineering pre-expense and design stuff? It's not capital. Then we kind of know what things have started and what things have not. But I
Yeah.
agree with you, it gets covered on an annual basis. It's not, shouldn't be bonding for studies and things like that.
Right.
It's just gonna get too complicated.
Too expensive.
Tony, does this include a roll-off of the hiring bonds? I'm a little overwhelmed by all this at the moment, but I mean, does this integrate, if I look, when I go home, and I look at this more closely, does it show the roll-off? No. So,
No, this isn't.
Yes, yes.
it doesn't know?
If you look at this page,
Yes, that,
Okay,
there's an attempt on the bottom
okay.
under the revenue section. It says retired debt payments reallocated town, retired debt payments reallocated school, retiree liabilities fully funded and reallocated in this one. Is that the one? Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
And so that's the attempt to show the decrease in existing bonds to offset the cost of the new.
It's
Bonds.
an awfully low number.
this has to be updated.
Okay, I mean, 40,000 in 28
What are you looking
Well,
reallocated debt or retirement.
No, it's much higher than that.
Where,
maybe I don't have all of you. Well, I think we're looking at that.
For the town, it was 40,000 that year.
yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem like You must be doing more amortization than $40,000.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how
That can't be
accurate this
right.
is, Gar. I,
Well, that's why I asked the question, I thought the numbers can go they low.
Yes.
but we haven't had much, we don't have much existing debt outstanding, so
So this may be,
the retirement,
may be very light.
yeah.
But if you look even out in 31, I frankly, $160,000, it's, the amortization must be more than that. That can't be right. I don't think.
1, 2, 3, 4. 160 is for the town, 420 is for the school.
Yeah, but we're gonna have, we're gonna have what, $30-40 million of bond, debt outstanding. The amortization's gotta be, if you're using the, constant, mortgage constant, at a, 2%, 3%.
The actual debt schedules we have today,
That's good, but
right?
that can't be right. That can't be the
Again,
actual
this is,
amortization, I don't think.
I'll double
I
check
think
it.
this was built by Greg in 25,
Okay.
Yeah.
this sheet, but I put it here to kind of, it's fine, I got it.
Fall of 24.
Yeah.
Right, fall of 24 was when we talked about this. Yeah,
So so the idea is that, you're looking at your capital plan, and then the next page, you're kind of rolling into the debt schedule for.
But I was trying to get, I'm trying to get at the timing issue, at least understanding is that number that Barbara pointed out, I think is critical, because that then opens the door to take on more debt, right?
well, and it's consistent with the numbers in the schedule in the book.
Okay, but it's doesn't, can't take on much debt.
Doesn't look right.
Well, it is.
What time that, this water and sewer, right?
No, we have some old general bonds from like 2010.
Like that.
Well, we are. Yeah, our total debt payment was in 26 was $1 million, something under 2 million. So you're not gonna get it.
In principle.
Well, yeah,
In principle.
yeah.
Okay, but I imagine a very large part of that million or two was principal, because these are old bonds. They've been hanging around for a long time. And,
They don't amortize that way.
it's a constant.
So,
Payments from communities, yeah.
so on the amount outstanding debt.
Yeah.
Fiscal year 27. No, that's the school. The town. Total outstanding debt was 5.5 million.
Right.
And in fiscal year 28, 4.7.
Okay, so the debt service on that has got to be $500,000-600,000, I think.
But we're putting in new debt.
Fine, all right.
The principal repayment portion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have anything on this, Andrea?
Would you say $5 million?
Is this all clear? I mean, it's right.
I'm just looking at like the total
Yeah.
debt service of principal plus interest. So FY 27, we budgeted 809,000.
Yeah.
FY 28, we're gonna owe 799, so that's only $10,000 decrease. And it's about $10,000 going forward until FY 32, then it's $121,000 less. And then FY 33 is $100,000 less, and then FY 34, it's $464,000 less.
So it's not a constant principal payment every year.
Well, each bond is that way, but if you layer all these bonds with different timing,
Right.
then you get a like, big one rolling off,
Right.
Right.
then you get step change. Then it's good. You got like 4 or 5 different issues outstanding,
So if we're gonna use the
with different time
principal,
periods too.
taking on new debt as old debt is retired, we need to, know those numbers very well.
Right, we had,
This,
we have on page 71 of our budget book.
Yep.
We have 4 outstanding Yeah, one from 2011, one from 2014, one from 2017, which was SRF, and one from 2018.
Yeah.
And the total principal payment for fiscal year 27 was 646,000. And the interest was 155,000. So the,
I think at least for the ones that were SRF, those are probably sewer. I think probably one of these are sewer with, I think it's 75% paid by the enterprise fund, not. So that would also explain why it's not a huge number.
but it's in debt service. Rolling debt
The
service.
SRF for this one is on Pine Street, so it's all water. It's only 1.4.
We'll figure it out. I was thinking about pump stations.
Thank you.
Very practical.
It looks good.
We
Yeah, I'd say the logically is great.
She certainly can give us all of the existing bonds and what the principal interest paid for each year, right?
Oh, that might even be a page.
Yes.
Yeah,
The Pine Street bond is that, you know, the money we're saving every year from repairing those leaks is probably more than what we're paying on the interest of the bond, so that was a worthwhile project. Those are the ones we have to target for. Where we can save that kind of money.
so. Okay, we'll talk about what we're gonna revisit this when we get to the schedule.
This is great.
Are there any,
Copy this electronically at some point? I know you're call
It's
it
not, I
draft.
don't mind, it's just that this is. These are. A SharePoint spreadsheet with multiple, different tabs.
Yep.
That other one that has the debt service on it is a separate spreadsheet, like I couldn't figure out a way to. I actually had to print these separate pieces and put them together. So I'm happy to send you all of it, it's just not gonna look like this. It's gonna be kind of different documents.
Well, I appreciate this.
Yeah, this is very helpful.
This is awesome.
Because it focused our attention.
Well, I think the other thing that's really good too is
Same problem.
this. I mean, this high altitude look of kind of all the stuff is very helpful.
Well, it tells me all the capital projects that are being contemplated. I've never known, what they.
Honestly, all that. Chuck, Nate, and Andrea already had in a spreadsheet, they updated the numbers to FY 26, and then it was just kind of. Moving things around.
and
And some of that stuff went back to 2019 master plan.
right,
Well, and it gives us a context to think about the next 20 years. You know, as Rome hasn't built the days, I always say this is a working, long-term working plan. So
well, I just think it's useful, we're talking about prioritizing projects as financially, how to fit the pieces in, so it's not.
Yeah. exactly.
Because we have a lot to do, but then whether it occurs this year or next year for some of them might not matter. Okay. Update from town administrator or finance director. Is there any additional updates you need to give us? Yes, Andrew.
I have one update, we're getting ready to roll over the ban. That is outstanding, so if you remember last year, we issued a $4.1 million ban for the water,
Yep.
meter project, the water project, so we're paying down that 271 that we just approved, we're paying interest. We're rolling that over and we were actually talking about like cash flow. The other day, Chuck, Jen, Dayton, Tony and I, and we're looking at, okay, well, the timing of the projects, we're actually thinking of doing a ban from June to December, just to roll that water over. And then see where we're at cash flow wise, and then issue one in December. And that way we'll have numbers for the budget, instead of for June. So we'll get on a schedule instead of having needing money in December and having another ban and then having to do it again in June. We'd just rather do it all at once. So that's our plan.
What's the rate on the band right now?
Low fours.
Like 4.2 or something like that?
And I also asked department heads to take a look at the fee schedule for each department. Our hope was to present some proposed fee changes to the select board in next month. And then allow for that to kind of be posted on the website, public comment period, and try to get them installed early in the new fiscal year, July.
Great.
So that's kind of working on that too right now.
Yeah, and one of the things to keep in mind is the fact that we increased the ZBA fees to 1,000 an application.
Great.
And not had any pushback, so it would make sense that
Bump it to 2,000.
the other land use department should be at least on the same,
Same thing.
just cost so much to build, 1,000 drop in the bucket. Minutes.
Building permit fees have already been installed or not yet?
They've not been installed yet. That'll be part of this process. We've already done the homework on bags and building permits. Great.
Did people have a chance to look at the minutes from April 16th?
Yeah, maybe a silly question on the first set of minutes. It speaks about the amount of excess revenue we had. And the underspending. Those numbers are put together to turn into equal free cash
Yes,
positions, right?
right.
But they had, the numbers did on the minutes. I need to get a big print copy of them. That we need. You look at the first set of minutes, I think they are the date of
What do you mean, first set of minutes?
April 16.
I don't have one.
I have a question about how the numbers worked out. That's
Oh, I see.
there was nothing about text. The old text were fine, but there was a report on it that. Oh, I guess it probably was projected excess revenue and projected expense, and then it gave a number which was not the sum of those. Have there,
Right, because I guess,
it's another factor completes figuring
The
in.
amount we were gonna pull out of free cash, probably.
well, that, and I think we were going over that, I believe we were going over the Q3 report.
Yes.
And so then my estimate for free cash would include the rest of the fiscal year. So that would match what Q3 revenue and expenses were on that.
That's what I understood. With the two, the.
I don't have it up here.
Okay. I should have printed a copy for this discussion.
What? You want to defer approval? We're gonna defer.
I'd like to approve the second set, and
What's
that's,
the second set?
well, there were two sets. You said, isn't it?
27.
27th, we're not distributed.
They were just, I read them, they were on.
From the 27th?
The 23rd, April 23rd, the joint meeting with planning board.
Oh, I'm sorry, right, I was reading up here a minute.
Well, that's because I planned to do some for the 27th, which I didn't do. Okay, so April 23rd, which is the
Which are
joint
fine.
meeting
I
with
just
the,
had a question on the
with the
notes
select
on the
board.
first set, which was.
Okay.
Boards, like 40.
So I'd like to,
okay, so let's wait on the 17th, no problem, 16th.
Clarification, the minutes from the April 23rd joint meeting, I asked for some revisions to that, so you don't have the latest copy.
Okay.
That's the prior proposal.
So we're not gonna approve any minutes tonight.
okay, fine.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about the schedule.
Like the June meeting.
So I think based on tonight's conversation, we need to meet on July 9th.
But not in June.
Unless we want to be
Okay, Bob, this is about.
July 9th. Okay. So we'll meet on July 9th in order to do the year-end transfers. And you won't have, will you have the fourth quarter report by then? No, okay.
If the list we've been given tonight, Andrea, you gave us changes dramatically between now and the 9th. We should probably hear about it.
Okay.
So we don't come in
Yeah.
on the 9th with 4 days to approve and, suddenly this list is really different.
No, I plan to send it out, before.
That's why I was asking about June.
Right. Well, last year we met in June and we thought we had done the year-end stuff. And then things changed, so we had to call a meeting on short notice to get in before the 15th. So if things are gonna change with the final, I think there was an issue with the final payroll, right?
Yeah, it was a few issues.
Yeah.
That's what a year at the end of the year.
So I'd rather wait till she's closed out the year instead of thinking we've done it when we haven't.
It's ridiculous to draw a bunch of volunteers together for a Robert's thing. It was ridiculous.
So no June meeting, July 9. Anything else that you're missing? I'm trying to figure out my schedule during the summer, that's why I'm asking.
So I think that, do we want to start working on this capital over the summer?
I think so.
Okay. Trying to find my calendar. So do we want to, we're meeting on July 9th. Do we want to meet in August? Or doesn't like to meet in August?
Later in August.
Yeah, I was thinking later.
I was gonna say end of July and beginning of August is always kind of a tough time.
Just what do you think about later in August,
Okay,
like 20th?
how about the 27th?
Yes.
Does that work for people? It's kind of the end of the summer. I think school's back in session.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go over the final year end. The final fourth quarter year end report
I
and,
can send it, but I won't be around that week.
oh, should we do it the 20th? We'll do it the 20th.
Would anyone be open to going back to the States from like to Thursdays and for the fall this year?
You want Wednesdays rather than Thursdays?
For the Thursday, phone.
We are Thursdays.
We had been Wednesdays, Thursdays.
No, we switched from Wednesday to Thursday.
That's right.
So I'm thinking Thursday in my brain.
Okay.
Is Thursday good with people?
I may have a problem with July 9th.
I know I have a problem with July 9th.
Okay,
But if you could see that, you can.
Yeah, I can do earlier.
oh, okay. Can people do July 8th, the Wednesday? Okay,
Yes, I can do July.
yeah,
Oh, that's fine.
July 8th, are we good?
Good.
Okay. August 20th,
Good.
okay. When in September?
Third week.
17th? Yeah, September 17th would be the third Thursday of the month. I think we were on third Thursdays. I don't know what we were on. It might have been on fourth Thursdays, but does the 17th work? I won't be here the 24th. 17th, I think I'm leaving on the 23rd, yeah, so 17th.
So I'm sorry, we're now on September 7th.
September 17th.
Thank you.
September,
September 17th, fine for me.
as we get into September, we're gonna be starting to focus on November special town meeting.
Okay,
So it'll start to pick up again in September, October.
so we'll see if there's any financial articles. Well, we get schools.
I'm sure it's all.
Now there'll be more. Okay.
Is there? If you're not going to meet till July 8th, and haven't approved the April minutes, it just feels unfortunate that if somebody else wanted to follow what you're doing, that it would be 2.5 months meeting.
Well, I was always told that it was.
I think that meeting was, was really a joint prep for the town meeting, so what we discussed there. is kind of-
Oh, no, we had one on the 16th.
Could you?
Oh, I will talk about.
Could you draft minutes?
So a while ago,
Go ahead, you know.
I'm gonna bring that in, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay.
Well, but we're not gonna dispute the.
yeah, let's see if we can figure out this numbers thing. We'll see what we can do.
Like the 23rd doesn't worry me so much because I'm sure that the select board is going to approve those.
Yeah,
minutes.
it's just, and it's pretty much overcome by events anyway that we were discussing.
Yeah.
Prep for the town meeting, which is occurred, it's not, I don't, that's a big deal. You know, to be accurate. I mean, there's no way the minutes can be approved via electronic means. I can buy a house on my phone. Okay. Yeah, phone on my phone.
Essentially doesn't let you. It gives you the option of allowing the chairperson to approve minutes without a vote. You can't flip back and forth, if your standard practice is the committee meeting, so then you have to stick with that. But it also says, I think I want to say it's 60 days or within 3 meetings later.
Right.
Is the,
Yeah.
We've been doing pretty good, it's just. This one.
There's such a large gap between meetings.
Right. Yep. We like that in the summer. We're on summer's kitchen.
When I was first invited to the finance committee, they said this is a good committee for sailors.
Okay. Anything else anybody would like to raise?
The only thing I would bring is maybe our next meeting, if we talk a little bit about the potential Gore Woods project. There was a pretty good presentation 3 nights ago. And that's absolutely have a financial impact essentially on the water. Learn about.
I'm thinking we could wait and do that in September. Or, yeah, September. Because it's gonna be
May.
a long process. And we're meeting with other people. I mean, do we want them to meet with the finance committee?
I'm sure they'd be happy to. The PowerPoint's on the website,
Yeah.
if you weren't able to watch the meeting, you can go on to the website and take a look at the PowerPoint they provided. You can also watch the video.
I mean, we could ask them to come to the August 20th FinCom meeting. if we want.
Sure.
Okay,
No, we could ask them to come bring a pro forma of their cost estimates and their revenue rents that they're gonna be generating. That would be a popular meeting.
I'm sure they will,
might be a little premature.
Might be a little early. The question was asked about the number of anticipated residents on site and, he thought effective. I would have done the same.
I think that I get the sense that they're trying to meet with various boards to kind of see whether they need additional fine tuning.
Yeah.
It's hard to do the financial impact before you fine tune it.
if, there's a non-quorum amount of you that wanna meet with them, you know, instead of waiting until then, I'm sure they'll do that too.
I expect that they'll be meeting with the Affordable Housing Trust. That was on the list.
So they were gonna make a donation.
Yeah, so I don't know. Okay.
So move we adjourn.
John seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Daily.
There's nobody in the
Great.
It said.
Gail signed off. Who was hogging the screen?
And I was looking at it, the participant amount never went above 3, so it would have been you,
I wasn't in.
1623.
I wasn't in. No, 1623 wasn't in.
Oh.
Gail was in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
You, after your vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Because visualizing going from the brain.
Here's the minute.
These are the minutes from.
I had to get a new phone because I was on.
The first set of minutes. And we're talking about these
16.
financial highlights, blah. Revenues exceeded 607.
Back to my phone, so I said, oh, I gotta get a new phone.
And then we have 830.
Yes, yes.
Am I crazy to think those numbers would add up to each other? I'm sorry.
When I first got it, I somehow got it on the camera, and for the life of me, I couldn't get